On my way. Welcome to Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. I'm Kim.
And I'm Jonna.
And we are
in McKinney, Texas.
Yay! I'm McKinney Knittery.
Yes, and if you are a longtime viewer, you know I've been here before, that I love this store. Ginger, the owner, has just been so welcoming, and it's a beautiful, I know I've said that a million times, it's a beautiful store. It's half fabric, half yarn. So should I talk about McKinney Knittery, or did you have more in the intro?
I don't even know. It just feels so. Of course, we miss Pick Up Every Stitch, and we miss Karen and Felicia.
Yeah.
Hi!
Sorry, my foot is like
stuck in all the bags.
Stuck on a strap. Okay, here we go.
And we will be back at Pick Up Every Stitch, obviously. But
it's our home base.
Yes.
But we're on the road.
Yeah. Jonna invited me.
Kim and Jonna on the road.
Yeah, Jonna invited me to come down, and she wants me to see the store, obviously. So
yes.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
And just so you know, we are filming while the shop is open. They have very long hours here. What is it, like 9:30 to?
They're open 7 days a week, and I want to say they're open till 8 p.m.
Right.
most nights.
Yeah, I mean, check their website, check their Instagram.
Yeah.
But instead of getting here at like 6 a.m.
right, which we considered, but.
or filming afterward when I would probably just be asleep, we asked when a quiet time was, and so you might see people walking behind. You'll hear people looking for yarn, and it is what it is. It's a yarn shop. Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's really fun. And we're sitting in this cute little sitting area.
Yeah, they have a really nice knitting area. There was a big skylight above us, which would have been super cool, but with the Texas weather, the hail and stuff, they had to cover up the skylight. But so I am in Texas, so I haven't really talked about Texas too much. You all know that my children and grandchildren, 2 of my children live here, and 5 of my grandchildren live here. So we visit often, and one visit, my husband said, let's go look at these houses in close to where my daughter lives. And in 5 minutes later, we had bought a house.
That was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, and it just all seemed very hypothetical and not something that, you know, we would live in full time. We just thought, oh, well, we'll go back and forth. It'll be a home base for us in Texas and make it easier for us to visit our grandchildren and not be in their house and in their way. So, yeah, we bought this house a couple of years ago, decided to rent it out. So it's been tenant occupied. And, you know, this year it turned out to be the year when we thought we really need to make the move for my dad's sake. My dad has lived with us for 20 years, and our house in New York has 3 stories, and the bathroom that he needs to use is on the 3rd floor. And so a lot of stairs. He's become very, very frail due to illness. So I just really, really wanted to get him into the sunshine, warm weather, all on 1st floor living. And we live in sort of a golf cart community, so you can have a little golf cart, and there's a little cute little farmhouse with coffee and swimming pools and things. So we just thought now is the time. The kids are getting older. We really want to be part of their lives. So we decided to come down here for a while. So I have temporarily relocated to Texas. So this is my local yarn store, which I think I just Googled one time and discovered, yarn shop in McKinney, Texas, and let's go. And McKinney, Texas it's an adorable, authentic, quaint downtown square. So there's businesses all around this city squares, city block. Most of which I haven't been in yet because I'm always in a hurry when I come and I don't get to explore, but we're going to explore after this.
Yes. Usually your husband's like having a margarita or something next door.
That's right. One time he was having a margarita. One time, last time I came, I brought my dad and I parked him.
And she had to leave before he had too many margaritas.
Yeah, I did actually. And I had to leave before my dad had too much lemon pie around the corner, which he enjoyed.
But today it's just us.
Yeah, just us.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do some shopping, and this is a big store. So hopefully I get most of this right. But when I chatted with Ginger, who's the owner here, she was a stay-at-home mom, 4 kids, quilter, and one day she was looking for some knitting needles and couldn't find any. And she thought, this town needs a knitting shop. So they opened the store 10 years ago, and this is their 4th location. It's a large space. The space was built in the late 1890s, 1899, she thinks, or 1901. She thinks it was a piano store. And the store was, when she bought it, an office supply store. So kids used to come down here and buy their back to school stuff. And it had a low acoustic tile ceiling and those squares of carpet that stick down. And we'll put in some pictures.
Covering these beautiful hardwood floors.
Yeah, these beautiful hardwood floors. It looks like they just walked in here and it was this beautiful historic space, but it wasn't. They had to do a lot of remodeling. And now it's just absolutely beautiful. They uncovered the transom windows and opened it up. It's bright and light. And so we're thrilled to be here. She's been here in this location for 4 years, since 2020, which must have been a challenge during COVID to get workers in here and remodel the store. But it's just a stunning space. And we're so thrilled that she is letting us film.
Yeah. So if you follow our Instagrams, you did notice a couple months ago that I was sad. And the reason I was sad was because that's when Jonna told me she was moving. But obviously we're soulmates, so we'll be lifelong friends. And a little distance is not going to stop us from hanging out.
Not at all.
And
I'm still a New Yorker and still consider New York my home base. So, yeah.
And Jonna's definitely, you still have a lot on your plate. And as far as the channel goes, we are planning on continuing it. And so even before she moved, we booked a plane ticket for me to come down here this week. And we planned on filming episode 27, and we are. It actually happened. And then next month, we'll be both in Italy for the Mayak retreat with Joji Locatelli. So we're going to film episode 28 there.
In the Dolomites in Italy, which sounds very...
Glamorous.
So I'm excited. My husband's half Italian, so he's excited to visit Italy, and we'll do some climbing with Hoagie. She's very athletic, and
it'll be so fun. And then we're both extending our trips there, right? You're gonna go to Lake Como a little bit, and I'm gonna go to Bordeaux with my husband to see our son and his wife and kids. And I was thinking maybe we should do our Cable 3 Zoom also from the Dolomites, since we'll be together.
That would be amazing.
For the month of June. Oh, by the way, we have an audience. One of our Cable 3s is here. One of our Cable 3s is here. Debbie, do you want to just walk around here and come and peek between the mannequins and say hi?
So this is Debbie's local...
I don't even have to peek. I'm so short I can just stand back here and you see me.
Now, wait, have you been here before? You haven't been here before, right? Or have you?
McKinney Knittery?
You have been to
Oh,
McKinney.
yes.
This is your local yarn shop.
This is my local yarn shop.
Okay.
Yes. And I've been to all the locations.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so we just Zoomed, when was it? We just Zoomed Sunday with our Cable 3s. And Debbie was on.
I met Debbie at the Dallas Fiber Festival.
That's right.
Last year. And this is her first time meeting Kim, and she heard that we were going to be filming, and she's one of our Cable 3 members, so we Zoom every month with them. They're our knitting group. They're our life group. We talk about
everything.
Kids and parents.
The things we don't dare talk about on our YouTube videos.
So we're super grateful. You know, the support, the financial support's great. But honestly, they become our, our friends.
Knitting support, emotional support. A lot of them have gone through.
We're going through things with our parents.
Aging parents.
Exactly. So
I did want to say though, Debbie is a designer. So what's your name?
obviously I use my own name, Debbie Mage, but I also go by the name Deborah of Dallas.
Okay.
And by the way, I chose that name before I ever heard of the movie. Debbie
Right,
Does
I know.
Dallas.
I'm trying not to say it.
And I was mortified when I found out about
I
it, but I
know.
decided, no, it's my name. I'm sticking with it.
Right.
And
So
you
I'll
actually-
put all the links in the show notes below
Yeah.
for
You
her.
have a new design that you have a test knit.
I do. I do.
Okay, so where would they find it? If anybody wants to be a test knitter on
Yeah,
Debbie's design.
It's on Yarn Pond. That's where I do all my testing.
Okay, so look up Debbie Mage,
Well, actually, on there they
DEBIMAIGE.
use Deborah of Dallas.
Okay, Deborah.
Every time you say that,
I'm
I'm going to
sorry.
laugh. I know. But I'll put all the links in
But
the show
not
notes
Deborah
below.
Does Dallas.
Right, not Debbie Does Dallas.
No.
That's
Debbie
a
never
whole-
did Dallas.
that's
I grew up in Dallas, but I never did Dallas.
That's a whole different show.
Exactly. But we'll put it all in the show notes. But we posted that we were going to be here today, and we said if anybody's going to be in the area to pop down and say hi, and Debbie made it.
Made it.
Yeah.
Yay. So are you going to hang out and knit a little
I'll
bit?
hang out and knit with you.
Okay,
Excellent.
great.
Yay. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
And Patty, who is another viewer, made us those beautiful rice bags. If
Right.
you're a longtime viewer, you've seen in a previous episode. And I made a few of those and gave them away as gifts. And then Elle, come on, get down here. So Elle, I met at local yarn shop day when I was here with my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fun.
So I don't know. It already feels like a home away from home.
Yeah.
But I did text Karen and Felicia yesterday for some pattern suggestions, and Felicia's also been through stuff with her dad too.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of patterns, let's talk about the
The knit along.
the knit along and the mannequins. Let's do that right away and get it out of the way.
And Debbie, can you remember who was making the artist shawl someone in our Cable 3 group was making the artist shawl? I can't remember. It's a great
I don't remember.
stash buster project.
Yeah, so we'll start with that.
Yeah.
So here at McKinney Knittery, they're doing a cowl right now for the artist shawl by Natasha Hornby.
Who is Moonstruck Knits also.
Yes.
And this is Ginger's.
And let me hold up Kristen's. Oh, we forgot to mention Kristen. So Kristen has been so helpful since we've been here. She works here. Is she the manager or?
I think she does all their social media.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is
Ooh,
Kristen's.
beautiful.
We're kind of holding up colorways that we would wear, you know?
Right, more earth tone. more
Right.
bright.
So, and this knit along goes through the end of June. And if you want to participate, you can buy your yarn here. They do have a great
They
website.
have a fantastic website. Very user friendly, easy to order.
This is so soft. What's the fiber content of this yarn? Do you know? I wonder if there's a tag in here.
There is.
Okay. But it goes to the end of June, and they have a group on Ravelry, so you can join. And then let's talk about the samples behind us.
Okay.
So behind me is the Northwoods V by Jessie Maid,
Oh,
and it's knit in La Bien-Aimée Twist Nouveau, held double to make a DK, and it's knit by Ginger. I love on their little tags, they say who knit the sample. That's really
And
sweet.
Ginger also loves peanut.
Oh, does she?
Yes, she
Oh,
does.
fun. So you want to do that one?
Sure. This is Amren by Hohi Locatelli. It's in Plucky Fingering, and Alyssa knit this.
Beautiful little scarf,
Yeah,
shawl.
beautiful little scarf. I love the little tassels.
Remind me to get pictures of them. It's just better because
Yeah,
it's hard to see from that far away.
yeah.
Yeah.
This would be a great, good travel project.
And then behind Jonna, the sweater is Frid by Tara Lynn Morrison, and it's in Camellia Fiber Co. Merino Chunky, and Ginger knit that. And then,
Oh, and then that mannequin is also wearing the Sophie scarf by Petite Knit and Camellia Fiber Co. Yaki DK.
and one of the best things, I mean, there's so many best things right now. I love that the shop is open. I'm really enjoying this.
I know.
I love that Debbie's sitting here, but I
Yes.
love that the entire wall behind us is La Bien-Aimée.
Like literally the entire wall. So.
I mean,
Oh, so this is two-sided. So this actually is in the middle of the center of the store. So the other side of this is completely also.
so just so you know, it's best if you want to know what's behind us to actually contact the store and not contact us,
Right.
because I don't even know. You could screenshot
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're looking at
And circle it.
circle it, and then
And
email the shop or call the shop and ask them. But I want to buy every single thing
I know.
on the wall.
I'm so excited to do some shopping.
Yeah.
I want to buy some fabric too. Maybe we should go right into what we're wearing.
Sure.
Since I was going to talk about buying some fabric.
Yeah.
So they have the Merchant and Mills linen here, and lots of quilting cotton. So quilting cotton, garment, fabric, all kinds of different crafts in here. Some wool embroidery floss, and they sell patterns. I'm not even going to say because I'm not going to remember. But anyway, I want to talk about what I'm wearing. I am wearing McCall's 7969, and it's one of my absolute most favorite patterns. It was super, super simple. I think the hardest part was making this like bias strip, but it went on really easily. And I wear these, I have 2 of these dresses. I wear them all the time, especially in the hot weather, because they're so light and airy. If you sweat in them, they dry in the wind in 5 minutes. So you're not wearing like, damp clothes. And there's a lot of sweating going on here, actually. It's pretty warm. And so I'm going to leave here with some linen to make a third McCall's 7969. I talk about it more in depth in a previous episode, but I can link below. Also, you can put the little card wherever it goes.
Up above your head, yeah.
Yeah, and this fabric is actually Indian block print from the Sanskriti store. They have very, very reasonable prices, but you will pay shipping because it comes from India. So,
nice.
yeah, one of my favorite stores for this type of lightweight cotton.
Nice. Let me just do this increase.
Yeah.
And I am wearing nothing that I made. It's too warm for knitwear. I didn't even bring any. I'm wearing a little dress I bought in the south of France, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, and my husband were on a road trip. I actually we were mostly north on that trip in September, and I brought mostly warmer clothing, and we got to the south of France, and I was so warm. So I went in this little store and bought this dress, and I just love it. So anyway, I don't even remember where it was or what it's called, but there you go. So yeah, I guess we'll work on, let's move on to FOs.
Okay.
Ready?
We don't have any.
Done.
Yep, fast forward to that section.
Exactly.
And I haven't been doing much knitting. I just haven't had time. So
I do have to say something. When we posted our last video, we did have a comment from someone who said, and I get this, like not every podcast is for every podcast is for a different style.
Exactly. Awesome podcasts. Yeah.
And we appreciate every comment. We've gotten so many constructive suggestions about lighting, about microphones, about all kinds of things, about format. And some of them will try them out. Some of them will, it's not our style. But someone said she just found us and she's so disappointed that we talked about ourselves. And I talked about my hair. And I said, I'm so sorry, but we do put timestamps in. So if you want to skip the chit chat, then you can do that. But the whole idea of our podcast, our thought about it, it's called Knit Together because we started it during COVID, deep in COVID, and we couldn't have our knit groups in our homes anymore. So we wanted to be able to knit together with all of you. And part of a knitting group is talking about your lives. So,
and some people love that and want more chit chat, and some people want less. So we can't really please everybody, but we do our best. And honestly, part of the podcast is about us enjoying them. Obviously, if we don't enjoy doing the podcast, we are not going to continue to do the podcast. Part of it is chatting, and we have become knit together, you and I, through the process. So I love that our name is Knit Together with Kim and Jonna. There's much more deeper meaning to that, and reasons why we chose it. But yeah, it's one of the things that we enjoy, and I think a lot of knitters enjoy getting together with other knitters and talking about knitting and other lifestyles. Yeah, and I've learned so much from you about how to raise adult children. So it's great.
And what was I? Oh, and a lot of times in the last few months, especially with everything with your dad, the only time we saw each other in person was when we filmed. Unfortunately, it just happened to work out that way.
Right. I haven't been able to leave my dad unattended, so but we haven't moved into an assisted living facility, and that comes with its own challenges. So, but I think that we're moving towards a better quality of life for him and for me.
Yeah. And he's close by. We saw him.
Minutes.
I got here a couple days ago.
I dragged Kim all over the Metroplex with my parents.
And it was your mom's 80th birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
Caroline.
birthday, Mom.
So, is it okay that I said her name?
Yeah.
Okay.
She'll think she's famous.
Yeah, she is. Anyway, so so here we are. So we can move on to whips now.
Okay. All right. Well, in my lap is my, and if you've watched the last few episodes, this is like my main project, my Oslo sweater by Petite Knit. And it is in this beautiful Julie Asselin cobalt blue. It's the Fino is the base. It's a fingering.
And make sure the stitches don't fall off. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I have these cute little.
Can you put them on just so?
And caps. Call them end caps.
Yeah, the last thing we need is for the
Stitch
stitches
keepers.
to fall off.
These rubbery stitch keepers. I got it at Pick Up Every Stitch.
Yeah. There we go.
So Julie Asselin Fino and Julie Asselin Anatolia. So a mohair held with a fingering. And this is the Oslo sweater. It is not seamed, but it is knit in pieces from the top down until you join underneath the arms, and then it's knit.
So you start, and you can look at previous episodes, but you start with the back, and then you pick up stitches to do the front. So yeah, there's no real seams so far.
And I think I talked about the gaping hole here. So I did the collar, even though you're supposed to do it at the end. I did it at the beginning. And it also helps with fit. I have tried it on. I posted a picture on Instagram. It will have sleeves, I promise. It took me a while. I sat there with you and picked up stitches for the sleeve because I just needed, I just needed the moral support to sit down and do that. But I did pick up stitches for the sleeves, and during our Cable 3 Zoom, I knit this much of the sleeve.
Nice.
So there are some decreases in the sleeves, which I am doing, and I'm hoping to finish this in time for Italy.
Yeah.
Because it is still chilly there in the night.
It'll be fun.
So I love it. I absolutely love the way it fits. I love the way it drapes. I am making size 2. So it's a DK weight, so you can just use the DK yarn. I thought it had a really interesting construction, which I talked a little bit about in a previous episode, but you can see
where you pick up.
Yeah, you pick up
the shoulder seams are on the back of the shoulder, which is really neat.
Super, super elegant, I think, and simple. Some people commented about why I like Petite Knit, but I just think that they're very simple and classic designed. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to finish it and wear it. So hopefully the next picture of the sweater, I will be wearing it in Italy.
Yeah. And since Jonna's been in Texas, she's been unpacking herself and moving her father here, and then moving him to one assisted living facility, and then having to move him to another one a couple days later. And because your routine in New York before you were going to move was get up, have your coffee, knit for a little while in the morning, go to the gym, and she hasn't really gotten into that routine. So I'm cheering her on to, because you guys cheer us on and say, make sure you're taking care of yourselves as you're taking care of your family.
Right.
And a lot of you know, most of you know, many of you know that as a mom or a grandma, often we don't do that. But it is really, really important, because if we're not being fed, we're going to just crash. So I love just even coming here that you found time to knit. Even last night, you decided, I want to cast on a sock.
Usually I'm a zombie by 8:30 and I'm just flat on my back. But
yeah. And my stomach still growls in Texas, just like in New York.
It's a lack of breakfast, I will say.
Yeah, I didn't eat breakfast today, yes. Sorry.
But what was I going to say? You mentioned something.
About just self-care, taking care of yourself, moving.
I was going to say that, so we had our member 3 Zoom on Sunday, and I realized how, I've been in a knitting slump and just not doing a lot of knitting, and my knitting mojo is tanked, and part of that was that all my yarn was still in bags and boxes, and I didn't even know where the knitting needles were, so nothing was accessible. But seeing everybody talk about their projects during our Zoom just really was inspiring to me. I was like, oh, I want to make that. And, I realized that my knitting mojo isn't waning. It's just that life has been complicated and I couldn't find my knitting needles. So Kim did help with that. She'll post some pictures. Our house has really big walk-in closets, so I don't really have a knitting room anymore. I will. We're going to do some construction. But she helped me at least unpack the yarn and the needles, and I still have my same Calyx IKEA cubbies, but it's in a closet. So.
Right. So I'm staying in her guest room, and I open the closet. She's like, "Oh, it's crazy in there."
I know.
And I open it,
literally
and there were
stacked to the ceiling.
Boxes of yarn, and her cubbies with other stuff in them.
Full sewing stuff.
Right.
I have 5 sewing machines or something.
And so I said, if I can help you with one project while I'm here, then let's unpack, because I think your temptation was to not unpack it until the built-in is going to be finished, that you're going to store it in. The final location it will be. But I was like, but you have your cubbies here. Let's just unpack it so you can find things and see
And
things.
I just couldn't believe that, she wanted to help me do that. But it was great because I was going to ask my husband to just sit there for moral support while I did it. But because she's a knitter, she knew kind of where things would go and how to help me organize it. So
and it was fun to reminisce as we saw the yarn, like the yarn.
And gifts from her and souvenir yarn and places we've been. So, that's one of the reasons I love having a stash. I love being able to look at my stash is because
Collection.
It's a collection. No, that's right. All the memories that are built into purchasing that yarn. My husband walks in and facetiously says, "Oh, I think we need some more yarn."
But he did say yesterday, wow, you guys did a lot.
Yeah.
We unpacked all of it.
And then this morning I had to go in and get the extension cord or something. And I opened the closet door and it was literally like Narnia. It was like opening the door to this magical wonderland. I was like, ooh, this is awesome.
Full of treasures. Yeah. It was really fun.
It was great. So I'm very grateful.
Yeah. And as I was falling asleep last night, I was thinking of the beauty that was behind that door and it made me so happy. Yeah. So lovely.
Awesome. So
okay.
Happy.
So let's all also encourage Jonna to finish her Oslo.
Yeah.
Make some me time in the morning. Get it. Make your coffee. Knit.
Fewer emergencies.
Yes,
sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, I did bring my Primrose Throw by Arne and Carlos. I don't even know if I've done any flowers on it because I got sidetracked by my granddaughter's sweater, which is almost finished actually. But I just brought it because I love it so much and I wanted you to see it and I wanted it in this environment. Isn't it beautiful?
Super colorful.
I might just sit here like this for the rest of the episode. But I really can't wait to finish it. And I'm loving my Primrose steering wheel cover that I made. And I was thinking, even though I want to use every scrap of yarn to make this as big as possible, I might just make a steering wheel cover for my daughter Jenny because she loves flowers and she's been going through a lot of health issues and I thought that would be fun. Anyway, so I haven't really worked on this, but I will, and I will finish it. I promise. Someday.
How is the steering wheel cover holding up?
Oh, it's holding up great.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I absolutely, I love it so much. It makes me so happy. Yeah. Okay, that's one of my whips. Do you have another one?
I do. And I wanted to talk about this. I mentioned it briefly in our member Zoom, but I came here on local yarn shop day and there was a trunk show. Rachel, hi Rachel. Hi mom of Rachel. I can't remember her name. But they also have a podcast called Night Owl Fibers Podcast
Right.
on YouTube. And she dyes self-striping sock yarn, which if you know me, it's my jam. And I have to say her colors are stunning, really deep and intense. The definition between the colors is really crisp, which I loved. And she was actually knitting with this colorway, which is called Sweet Land of Liberty. So I thought it was appropriate for 4th of July. Beautiful blues, reds, and white, right? Red, white, and blue, I should say. And so I wanted to talk about her. They do sell quite a bit of Night Owl fibers here. I assume it's on the website, but I just went over and grabbed a bunch of skeins. We'll take a picture of these. This one's actually mine. Hello, Tummy. It's called Cozy in My Hobbit Hole, and I just thought it looked like Christmas, and I love Christmas. In fact, I was telling Kim last night, we've had several margarita nights since we've been here.
One margarita.
But we've
actually, the first night we had 1.5.
Did we split one?
We split one. Because we weren't driving.
But hers was a heavy pour, so I just got a little and she got a lot. But anyway, so we were talking about, here it's almost, summertime, but I'm already excited about Christmas knitting. So I'm thinking I'm going to make a bunch of sock tubes and make everybody socks for Christmas. So anyway, this reminds me of Christmas.
And that's what you're doing with this one you cast on.
I'm just making, I forgot to talk about my needles. Let me talk about my needles too. But I just wanted to grab a few of these colorways, and they're really, really stunning. Gorgeous
really
color choices.
Beautiful.
So
yeah, I was going to say when I got here, you were craving knitting a sock, but you didn't even know where your sock knitting needles were.
No, I was like, I could just order them on Amazon with all the other things I'm ordering.
And I said, but I brought a care package from a friend, not from me.
From my dear friend. in New York. She sent me a care package of sock yarn and some beautiful camellia fiber the silk tweed, which I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. The colorway is peach ranunculus, so I was thinking, what better way to jumpstart your knitting mojo than to cast on a ranunculus, because it's pretty much instant gratification, big needles. You can wear it in 4 days if you're diligent, and it's a fun knit. Yeah. It's like a very potato chippy knit. So.
Definitely.
Anyway, she in the care package sent along these Haya flyers, super sharp, flexible DPNs.
And so, you have never used those before, right?
I haven't. So 3 of these came in a kit. You know, that said, back in our sock episode, I think I may have tried them. Or I ordered some, but they were 1.5s and they were too big, because I'm not as tight of a knitter as you are. I think I'm pretty average tension. But I have discovered that 60 stitches really fits me better than 64. So I cast on 60 stitches all on one needle. And then with Kim's help, because my brain is still
it was late last night, and we had done a lot in the day.
Yeah, and I had a margarita. But cast on 60 stitches, divided them onto my 2 needles. And the premise is, it's really, so I thought that these would be more like knitting with DPNs, but they're not. And they're more like knitting with magic loop, except you don't have this long cable to pull through. So I feel like that takes up a lot of time. Magic loop is really my go-to as far as socks are concerned. But I'm really liking this. It's much more magic loopy than it is DPN. And you move the stitches that you're not working to the flexible part of the cable, which is just a short tug. It's not this, 40-inch cable.
And it's I noticed it was a really smooth connection between the little short cable and the needle.
Oh, right.
Because sometimes that's difficult when it's really hard to push the stitches over that connection.
Yeah, I will say, there have been a few times when it's gotten kind of stuck in the connection. But what was I going to say? I should have cleaned. You should really, best practice is always clean your brand new needles with some rubbing alcohol or something, just to get any kind of whatever residue off of them.
What pattern are you using for your socks?
So I'm just going to make a big old tube, and then I'll do afterthought everything. Afterthought cuffs, heels, and toes, probably in white or a vanilla kind of, because I love contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. So I just love the colorway. So
and this morning, I was thinking, we think the same thing. So when I was waking up, I thought, I wonder if Jonna wants me to drive.
And I woke up and I was like, will you drive? So I can knit and
so she can knit. So yeah, she was so excited in the car when she got to the next color, the blue stripe.
It's funny, in New York, every village is maybe, I don't know, 3 stoplights from a different village. So even though gas is more expensive in New York, we really don't do as much driving. And we have great public transportation, and we can walk lots of places, very walkable. But here, oh my goodness, gas is a little bit less expensive, but we have long distances to drive. So I've been doing a lot of driving. So it was nice to have you drive.
Yeah, it's been fun to be a passenger though, because
and you get to look around.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, but this was all freeway driving, so it wasn't.
It's just been wonderful to be here.
So I'm happy to be back in my sock knitting. I do have some DRK everyday socks on the needles that I'm ignoring because they're gigantic. If you ever knit socks for the men in your life, it's this is one of my fears, that I'm gonna lose the 3rd needle.
Right. If you have DPNs and there's 5, it's not that big a deal if you lose one.
But if you have these and you have 3, you're pretty much done.
Yeah. You won't lose it.
So anyway.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I tend to talk about things in chronological order, but
and I tend not to. I zigzag all over.
Maybe I'll be like you. Okay, so what I'm knitting on right now is for local yarn shop day. I went to pick up every stitch, and I got to meet. I wrote it down because otherwise I'm going to forget. I got to meet Kelsey of Primrose Yarn Company, and she was having a trunk show that day. And Karen Altabef of Pick Up Every Stitch had designed a little pattern that was free that day with a purchase of yarn. And she ended up naming it Grace. Thank you for all your suggestions. We asked for suggestions before. She named it Grace. And so it's a little kerchief. And I'm doing the 1 skein version. There was also a 2 skein version. So I chose the colorway New York State of Mind.
Is it Grace, like Grace Kelly?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, GRACE. And so it's like greens to this kind of aqua sky blue. And yeah, I'm having really fun. It's definitely super simple knit that I can take in a small bag and take with me. So I love it. And I don't really wear kerchiefs, so we'll see if I wear it. And if not, I might give it to someone else. We'll see.
And one thing I love about this yarn is it's actually very soft.
Yes. So next to your skin, next to your neck.
It's very spin cycle-esque, the way the colors
but it's fun.
transition.
It's easy. Yeah, I really love it. So that's what I'm working on. Is there anything else I have to say about it? Let me see. No, I didn't even write much down. I'll talk about it more when it's done. How's that sound?
Okay.
But I love it. Okay, you're next.
Alrighty. I think I didn't mention, I think I'm on size 7 needles on this Oslo, but it's in my Ravelry. And, you know, like I said, I talk about it in another episode. So, quickly, I just want to say a quick thank you. And if you watch Jackie Rose on YouTube, formerly, why am I drawing a blank? Caddy Jacks, thank you, Debbie. Caddy Jacks podcast. Jackie Rose now has her own podcast, her own channel, as does Caitlin. But so if you've watched Jackie in the past, you know that her mom had cancer, and so she went through that whole thing with her mom. And I started the Soho Square. I've already made one. I'm on my second Soho Square. But Teddy, my puppy, and this was total, I was telling Kim, this is my fault. He really has gotten much, much better around the yarn.
He has.
He has. But I left a skein of the
But
birdie.
he stole my slipper.
Oh, he did.
But we
Shoes
saved
and
it.
socks, all bets are off. He will never get those back. But I left a skein of birdie in the color loam on the floor. I think I just dropped it and didn't realize, and he had a heyday with that thing, man. It was just...
She sent me a picture.
I tried for like an
bits and
hour
pieces.
to put it back together, and I still have it. It's in a bag, and maybe it'll get used someday. But I messaged Sarah from Lamb & Kid and said, hey, do you have another skein of loam lying around? And then you ended up messaging Jackie, and they sent me a skein in the
And they gifted it to you, which was so sweet.
They gifted it to me, and Jackie and the girls wrote me a sweet note. Hi, Jonna. Hope this helps finishing your project. Love, Jackie Rose and the kids. So, thank you so much. You know, it's one of those things you get stalled, and you think, and it goes in your UFO pile, and you never pick it up again because it's got a problem. Well, problem solved, and I did wind some yarn last night, found my yarn winder, and I have a place to do that now, so thank you. Thank you. So I'm excited about that. I guess I could show it, or you have a picture of it. I haven't worked on it, but most of the yarn is Moondrake. So yeah, it's the Fua Fua, which is the cashmere blend, which I absolutely love, and so this is a really plummy purple, and this is called Fairy Godmother, I think, and this is called Sand, maybe.
It's beautiful.
Oh my goodness. And I love this pattern. If you don't know about the pattern, look it up. It's got several different sizes and versions, and even needle sizes. And it's just it's a really sweet pick-me-up, and you can knit it anywhere, it's garter stitch back and forth, and it's fun to be able to put the colors together.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can take inspiration from anything, even the Starbucks splash page of the app. I was like, I want those 4 colors in my next Soho Square. So and you've worn yours a lot.
Yes, and I'm not a shawl person, but I wore mine the entire, ever since I finished it.
Yeah.
I've worn it so many times,
Yeah.
and I started to get sad when it was too warm to wear it. I would bring it with me,
and
just
you're
in
going to bring
case.
yours to Italy. I'll bring mine to Italy.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, I have several different coats. Like I have a light blue coat and a camel coat. And
Okay, we have to stop for a second.
yeah.
Okay, so back to our regularly scheduled programming. Hopefully the iPhone audio recording is good enough, because I forgot to delete the track on one of the transmitters.
So if there's a change in the audio quality, that's why.
Yeah, or I might just use only the iPhone one at this point. I
Okay.
might not even.
Okay.
It might be easier to. Michaela, we miss you.
I know we've gotten used to having an assistant. It's such a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a lot to think about before this. I actually had a big concert, my big spring concert in New York City at the Liederkranz
And
the
then she
night
didn't
before.
sleep for 36 hours.
The night before I flew here, and then I got home and I packed after that, trying to think of everything that I had to bring, and then I had to wake up. I got to bed at midnight. I had to wake up at 2:30 in the morning because my friend was picking me up at 3 to drive me to the airport. So anyway, And by the way, I keep looking at the screen instead of the thing.
I know.
I think we're far enough away. I don't think it'll matter so much.
I
I
don't
think
think
it's when
so.
you're closer that it matters.
Yeah.
So let's get back to the knitting.
Okay.
So we don't annoy everybody. So you went next, right? Yeah, this is my last project.
Okay.
Okay. So as you guys know, on my granddaughter's birthday, end of February, I suddenly decided I wanted to knit her a sweater. She's 11 now, and she's getting kind of fashionable. I mean, she was always fashionable, but kind of having her own opinions instead of mommy picking everything out. She actually raids her mom's closet all the time and just wears mom's stuff. But I decided I wanted to knit her a sweater. Her favorite color is aqua, that kind of sea colors, ocean colors. And so I sent her a couple, I've said this already, samples of different styles of patterns, cardigans, all different kinds of patterns. And she picked a pattern by Kim Hargraves, and I have never knit a Kim Hargraves. And the only way to buy it was in this book, and this book was published in 2015 and out of print. So watch a previous episode to see all about it. But basically a viewer had posted on Instagram that I was looking for it, and a viewer found it in a used bookshop in the UK, and I bought it for 18 pounds and got it within like a week. So it's on the cover, and so I started knitting it, and I'm knitting it in this gorgeous yarn that I bought. It's Barocco Wizard in the color turquoise, 85% superwash merino, and 15% nylon. I typically don't knit in superwash, but for an 11-year-old who, sorry if I embarrassed you, Scarlett, sometimes your room is messy, and there's clothes on the floor, and I'm assuming it'll get thrown in, you know, with other stuff. So it is machine washable on delicate, and then it does say lay flat to dry. But anyway, so I got this. I actually got this at Village Wool, my first time ever there in Glastonbury, Connecticut, because that's the closest knitting shop to my daughter's house. And I had mentioned that they were relocating, and I think it's like just about to happen, or it just happened. So they're going to be in a beautiful new space, and I'm going to go check it out when I get home. But the owner there is Marion, Marion. So hi, everybody from Village Wool. I don't even know if they watch. Because they definitely didn't know who I was when I walked in there. And I actually didn't tell them, but my daughter was like, she's not going to tell you, but she has a podcast. It was fine.
My husband will do that too.
Yeah. So basically, I already talked about how I did a gauge swatch, and I liked the fabric better at a smaller needle, actually the suggested needle, but my gauge was tighter. So I decided to make a bigger size, and figuring it all out, calculating, I'm making an extra, extra large, but my granddaughter is tiny. And so I cast on. I also decided, because of the way this yarn is going to stripe, this is supposed to be knit in pieces, typical UK pattern, knit in pieces and sewn together, which I don't mind, but the yarn would stripe differently on the front and back if I knit it flat. So I decided to make it in the round. And another viewer contacted me and said she did the same thing. So I got to read her notes. And I think I mentioned she's Karen or Dreamin' on Ravelry. Thank you so much for your notes. They did come in handy. So I cast it on in the round, and I made a faux seam up the edge just by, basically I followed the flat pattern exactly, and I added one extra, no I didn't, nope, I followed the flat patterns exactly. So I knit the front from the flat instructions and then just knit the back, and so it created a faux seam, because it's a 4-row pattern repeat, and on 2 of the rows it starts with knit 2s, and so because that is like that, it creates this nice little faux seam, which I don't know if I can get a picture of it, but I did finish the body, and I did want to make it cropped for her instead of Kim Hargrave's version goes all the way down by the hips. So I just measured my granddaughter, tried to figure it out. One thing I'm realizing, I have never really knit a really open lace work kind of pattern like this. I find it impossible, very difficult to really figure out the gauge, because you can stretch it a lot or you can stretch it not at all. Also, when I did block these pieces, when I pick them up out of the water, the yarn isn't heavy, but it just wants to grow. And it's superwash. So I have to very delicately like put it on in a towel, roll it up, lay it on the blocking mat, but it's just going to stretch. So my granddaughter did try it on before I added the sleeves, and it's longer than I wanted. It still just goes down to like her hip bone. It's not really down by her tushy. and it's wider than I thought it would be, but I did take a little piece of advice from Jonna, and you are supposed to do the neckband last, but I did it before I did the sleeves because I didn't know. Again, like, I think that's odd. They should change how they do patterns. You should, I feel like you should always do the neckband first, because then when you try it on with the neckband on, it keeps it where it's going to sit, and then you can get the correct measurement for the sleeves. When the neckband isn't on, it's just
be falling off your shoulders.
Right, especially with this open work. But yeah, so I started at the bottom. I did the suggested ribbing. I love how it's striping.
We can put that in our things the pattern doesn't tell you video,
yes,
which we still discuss and we're
we still want to do it. It's just been a lot going on.
Kind of best practices video.
And so I knitted it up to about the measurement that I had measured off my granddaughter, and then I split for the front and back. But of course I did the front and back at the same time, so I just added another ball of yarn and did the front and back at the same time. One thing I realized is the pattern is written with, you know, knitting back and forth flat. So when I did the pattern in the round, there's a part where you do, well, one part of it is knit 2 together, 2 yarn overs, and knit 2 together. And then the road to resolve that is usually knit 1, purl 1, and then knit 1. So I didn't reverse that when I did. So when I'm knitting all on the right side, I should have reversed those knits and purls in the center, but I don't think it makes a difference because I kept it consistent through the whole thing. And I didn't realize it until I started knitting flat. And then I realized, oh, but I better do it the same way I did it in the round. So I realized it then. Anyway, one thing it doesn't do though at the sleeves, and it didn't do it on the body, but because I did it in the round, it didn't matter. It doesn't add an edge stitch for seaming. And of course I learned this from Keith Leonard, just for beautiful finishing. If you have an edge stitch for seaming, and it's in that edge stitch, you never do a decrease or an increase. It's always a knit. Then you have a nice clear bar between that first stitch and whatever you did. If you did a decrease right after that edge stitch, it doesn't matter. But that is just a beautiful place to seam. So on the underarm, when I bound off for the underarm, I think it's a bind off 4 on each side of the marker. I only bound off 3, and I saved that 1 stitch. That's my edge stitch, my selvage. And so I did that, and it made this beautiful edge for seaming along the armhole shaping. It is a set-in sleeve. I did toy with doing a drop shoulder or a modified drop shoulder, but I said, no, I'm gonna do it the way it was written, because then I have to figure more things out. You know, I already had to figure out the gauge. The one thing though, that I'm following the XXL. So for the stitch count, that's totally fine. But for the row count, what I needed to do is measure how many rows I need to get the length I need, and make sure that the armhole shaping was distributed the way it should be. What I ended up doing was deciding to just do the armhole shaping that she had. My granddaughter's arms are tiny anyway, so I figured that little bit of row difference wouldn't matter, because it's just that shaping from the underarm just to, like, as you come out of the underarm, and then it goes straight up. And then, but I'll talk about what I did on the sleeve cap. But then when I got to the top, it's supposed to be bind off, stair step bind off, and sew the shoulders together. But I decided to do short row shoulders and a 3-needle bind off, and I did it. I was so proud of myself, because we all know I'm a lazy knitter, and I would just rather, for the 3 decades I knit before I met Jonna and before the podcast, I would just do what it said, even if I thought to myself, there must be a better way. I wouldn't look it up. I wouldn't anyway. And another thing I did is the center front neck and the center back. You were supposed to bind off the center stitches. I said, why am I going to bind them off and pick up stitches? I'll just leave them alive. Now, there is one reason. If you bind them off and then pick up stitches, you're going to have a more firm seam.
More stability.
But it's a loosey-goosey sweater anyway, and I just left those darn stitches live. And then I did my short roll shaping, and then when I was done, I just picked up the stitches along the right and neck edge, and then grabbed, put those stitches from the center back on the needle, and did the neck. The neck came out perfectly. I mean,
I can see your little row of
my decrease,
your
decreases. Yeah, and I did decide this is the kind of pattern. It doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you to add the edge stitch. It doesn't tell you how to do your decreases and keep the pattern going. If they did that on every row for every size, the pattern would be the size of the Oxford Dictionary. I mean, seriously. So it takes a bit of thinking. This is not a beginner pattern. This is intermediate, I would say. It's easy, but all those little decisions you have to make, which I think when you really think about it, I think you become a better knitter.
Oh, absolutely.
And by the time I had to make those decisions, I had knit that pattern for so long that I could decide. I basically waited. It's a 4-stitch repeat until I had 4 stitches, and then I would just start the repeat again. Or if I'm decreasing, I would just decrease, and then those stitches, I didn't have enough for the pattern, I would just knit them.
Okay.
But it worked out great. But anyway, I absolutely love it, and I love how the yarn, where the color changes happened in the neckband. It's so beautiful. Anyway, get to the sleeves. So,
doesn't Andrea from Fruity Knitting knit a lot of?
Yes, she did for a while. Knit a lot of Kim Hargraves. So the sleeves, my granddaughter wanted them a little extra long, and so I knit them from the bottom up. I did both sleeves at the same time, and I cast on, and I started knitting. And these are knit flat. I'm not knitting these in the round. And I did add the extra edge stitch so that I can seam them again. And I just knitted all the way up until how long I thought it needed to be, and realized they're really long. So what I did was I recalculated. I think the pattern called for 10 or 12 rows between increases, and I increased it to 14, and I probably should have just kept it at 12, honestly. I just didn't want the increases to end like at the elbow. I wanted them to be evenly distributed. Anyway, that being said, when I did the final increase, maybe I didn't even do the final increase. I can't remember. I decided to start the armhole shaping, and I can't remember, maybe it was any class I've taken where they talk about set-in sleeves. The body set-in sleeve armhole shaping should exactly match, that first shaping should exactly match the sleeve armhole shaping. So I basically, the one in Kim Hargraves was different. I don't know how that would have worked out, but because of my gauge, I just thought it'll just be easier. So I just did the exact same armhole shaping on the beginning of my sleeve cap. And then when I got to where that shaping was finished, then I measured and calculated how many more rows I would have to do to finish the sleeve cap, and then I evenly distributed those decreases into my row count. And I finished it, I bound off those last stitches, and I started sewing this on yesterday or the day before at Jonna's. Maybe it was yesterday.
She was so happy.
My seams are gorgeous. I mean, the sleeve, I did block the sleeves, and I made sure, one thing I did learn is that your measurement from the underarm on your body and on your sleeve should be the exact same length. It's a different shape, but it should be the same length. So I blocked the sleeve to be the exact same measurement as the current armhole that I had, and I just started sewing that baby in, and I didn't have to take it out. And my seam is, you can't see it, I'll try to get pictures.
Your seam is seamless.
It is so beautiful, because what I'm thinking, this is what I was telling Jonna when I arrived, the sleeves are way too long, I think. Your body fills it out a little bit though. I put it on me and it's like to my knuckles. But what I was thinking is I'm going to finish it anyway and sew the sleeve in, because if I just rip it out and start over, I'll never know if that sleeve cap shaping was going to work. So what I ended up doing, I decided I'm just going to sew that sleeve in and see if it works, take it home, try it on my granddaughter, and then I can say, oh, the sleeve is fine. Because one thing Jonna said is, those
I bought here in Texas, instead of wearing sunscreen all the time, I bought this UPF jacket that's really lightweight, but you can put your thumbs through the sleeves, and
they have a little thumb hole, right?
They have a little thumb hole so that the sleeves cover your hands. My hands are already enough spotted, so it's nice. So I thought, oh, she can just put her thumbs through.
We can designate a hole that she can put her
cover her hands.
Yeah. So if it's too long, I also thought if the cuff is narrow enough, it might just stop on her wrist and like what did I pull a little bit,
like balloon
a little bit,
Yeah.
or I could even add a teeny tiny bit of elastic hidden inside the cuff to make it stop at her wrist. So I have a lot of ideas.
And that would be great if her, when her arms grow.
Right, exactly, and she can grow into it.
And it'll be a crop top.
Yes.
This is like the gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly.
She can wear this.
Wear this, yeah.
In fact, there's a woman here who is an employee and is wearing this very cropped. I want to say it's cropped just to under her bust, but it's very open like this. It might be crocheted.
I think it might be crocheted. It's really cute.
And it's got long sleeves, but she's wearing it over a t-shirt, and it's very, very cute. So maybe if she'll let us take a picture, we'll put it in.
And we'll find out what the name of it is. But anyway, so I'm sewing the sleeves in. I have to sew the second sleeve in, and I'll take it home and let Scarlett try it on. I can see if the shoulder shaping, the armhole shaping, and the sleeve cap shaping are perfect as according to, like, if it was my size, it fits me perfectly. But for me, it's like there's not negative ease. It's just perfect.
It looked really cute.
Yeah, it looked cute on me too. Maybe I'll steal it. Maybe I'll make Scarlett a different one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm so happy with it. I was worried about it, and I'm so happy with it. The yarn is so soft, and yeah, I love it. So anyway, that's the progress of that. By the next time it will be finished. I was actually considering doing maybe a separate little video just with Scarlett, because you guys know Scarlett. She was on
in my place one time.
One time she took your place when you were in Texas. And so that must have been 3 years ago or 2 years. I don't know. So now she's 11. So maybe I can teach her to knit again, and then she can sit with me and she can have the sweater on, and we can talk about it, if she loves it or hates it, and she can be honest. Anyway, so that is did I even say it's the Aqua pattern by Kim Hargraves, and I'm knitting it in the suggested US 9 for the ribbing, and the 10.5. Okay, the US 9 is a 5.5 millimeter, and the 10.5 is for the rest of it in a 6.5 millimeter. And do I have to say anything else? No, I think that's it. And I'm so happy that it's almost done. Yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to do next besides finish my blanket and my Grace thing. Yeah. So that's it for that.
So I think we're on to favorite thing.
Okay.
I'm actually wearing my favorite thing from the last episode, which are these Julie Asselin earrings. I wear them all the time. In fact, I'm going to call Karen and Felicia on the way home and order the black ones because I love them.
And you're calling Karen and Felicia because they can add it in with their next Julie Asselin order, and then it'll come.
So you can also order them from the Julie Asselin website, I believe. So that's how I found out she even had jewelry. So, yeah. Anyway, but this month's favorite thing actually came from our member Zoom. One of our members, hi Carmen Karen, is knitting the Margot top by Gregoria Fibers. And I love the boat neck. It's very elegant, but simple, sleeveless, ribbing or no ribbing. It's got a horizontal lace, open lace pattern to it.
Like stripey, kind of.
Like stripey. But I just thought the silhouette was really, really beautiful. And I came across another top that Karen and Felicia recommended to me called the Sabai top by Suzanne Mueller. Is that correct?
Yep. It's probably Susanna
Mueller. Who is Paula Strict on Instagram. And I'll link both of those below, but they both have a very similar silhouette. The Sabai top there's a version with ribbing at the top and ribbing at the bottom, and then there's one that's just stockinette, the whole thing is stockinette. The Sabai top is knit from the top down, so you knit flat back and forth until you join underneath the arms. But the Margot top is from the bottom up, and so you can I love that you can just cast on and knit around and around and around until you have to deal with the split.
Yeah.
They're all in the round, one piece, seamless. The recommended yarn is DK weight, like a Sandus Garnlina, a cotton linen combo. But I'm going to look around for something. And one suggestion that Ginger had is, and they just started carrying the Rerum Natura. So they have the Gilead, they have the Ulysses, they have this is the Penelope, and I think they're getting the fingering weight version of this, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a wool silk combo. that they have just been loving and knitting with. Comes in lots of different beautiful muted colors, just right in my wheelhouse.
Very round yarn. I love it.
And have I used, now I'm going to say something wrong, you can cut it out. It's a Derirum Natura Antigone, which is 100% linen, like chainette yarn that it's just stunning. So I'm excited to use this. I don't know, so 90% wool, 10% silk. I don't know how summer friendly it will be.
Because most of these tops you're talking about are summery tops.
Yeah, they're summery, they're sleeveless.
Short sleeve or sleeveless,
That said, it's very soft. So I think part of not being able to wear something in the summer here is if you start to sweat, if it's prickly.
It's itchy.
Right, if there's any kind of prickle factor. So there doesn't seem to be any kind of prickle factor. So we can't wait to shop and take pictures.
We decided to record first and shop after because otherwise we might never have gotten
we might never
to
have
the shop
to the recording part.
Yeah.
So those are my two favorite things: the Sabai top and the Margot top.
Yeah.
And I'll put those in the show notes below, and I'll just kind of continue on. So, like I said, haven't been doing a lot of knitting, and come to find out, you can knit and worry at the same time. So when I was a new knitter, I couldn't knit and worry at the same time, and I felt like it occupied my mind enough to keep my mind from, going down rabbit holes. But since my dad's been ill, it has been very hard to focus. However, I did mention in our last video that I started reading Fourth Wing at the request of my daughter who wanted to discuss the book. And like I said, dragon smut is not my genre. Fantasy is not my genre. Come to find out there's this whole vocabulary in the fantasy genre that I am learning because I started reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. Commonly called ACOTAR is the acronym, ACOTAR. So I started reading the ACOTAR books, and if you watch Kristen from Bull and Vine Yarns, she is a big fan of the series. So now I am reading Fairy Smut. And
you went from Dragon Smut to Fairy Smut.
To Fairy Smut. And I have to say, it's enough to really give my mind a break, and I am not going down rabbit holes. I can't worry and read at the same time. So that's taken up some of my knitting time because I do audiobooks, but I find it I'm easily distracted.
Yeah, me
so
too.
I actually like to read the book. I do read them on my Kindle for the most part. So I am really enjoying ACOTAR. I am on the second book, which is called A Court of Mist and Fury, and I have to say that both book series have a very strong female lead who isn't maybe physically strong or maybe isn't the smartest person, but just a lot of grit and tenacity. And I am really, really loving these strong female characters. And in fact, I've taken up saying, I will not die today. I will not die today. Because I really, really need that kind of.
Does she say that a lot?
Yeah, in the first book, in the first series, the Fourth Wing. I can't remember the name of the second book. I read the second book also. I have the third book on order. Just these mantras that you really have to psych yourself up for the day, because I was telling Kim, it's like every day is a marathon, but a different marathon. So what you learned yesterday doesn't apply to today. It's a new marathon. So I have to say, reading has just been a joy for me lately. I'm really enjoying this fantasy genre and being able to discuss it with my daughter. And so
great.
Lots of reading.
So fun.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing as I'm looking at our framing that normally we don't have as much space above our heads, but I think I just wanted all that yarn to show.
Yeah.
Normally our heads were like this.
Oh, okay. I know. We do look, we're hunched down and sitting in, we're sitting in comfy rocking
We
chairs,
are,
which is
yeah.
nice. Good on the booty.
So, that's a lot of fun things. So I also have two favorite things. One was really kind of an acquisition, but so I'll talk about that first. Remember last episode I was talking about my Lina, that's how you say it, right? I always say Lane. My Lina, my knitting notes that Jonna bought me for Christmas. And I talked about, I do love it. I love having a project. There's lots of things I love about it. I love the fabric cover. I love the simplicity of it. There were a couple things I was talking about that I didn't like. I didn't like that you can't just lay it open. So I keep this big binder clip on it, but it always closes, so I have to go back. I didn't really love the extra pages in between, but I did use them for this project. But if I make an Oslo hat, like I barely need a page because I know, so I felt like, and people, you guys get great suggestions, put a yarn label on there or put a picture or whatever, but I don't know, I'm lazy. I'm not going to do that. Because I store all that information in Ravelry, right? So there were just a couple things that I was like, yeah, it's great. If this is, I love it. It's very like old fashioned. It would be interesting maybe on those blank pages to write my thoughts and feelings if I'm, make it like really like a journal. That would be kind of fun. But anyway, literally we finished recording. I don't know, it was within that week, Twice Sheared Sheep posted that they came out with their own knitting planner.
And we are affiliates of Twice Sheared Sheep, in
Yes.
case you know. And there's a link in the show notes below. It's our affiliate link. If you use that link, we do get a kickback. It doesn't mean you pay more for the item, though. And I did forget to mention, we both use these row counters.
It's on here.
And now I really don't.
I can't live without it.
Right, I can't live without it. So finally, both my sleeves are the same length, and I put my decreases in the right spot. And so there's a marker.
Oops,
I actually just borrowed one of these safety pin markers from Kim, but I count my 10s and then I count my 1s as I'm knitting each round. And yeah, you can't live without these. So this is definitely my most favorite Twice Sheared Sheep item.
Yes. And when we were first thinking of being affiliates, or maybe did they approach us or did we approach them?
They approached us.
They sent us a few little freebies and they asked what size needles we mostly use, and it was 4 to 6.
4 to 7.
Yeah. So they sent the size, so the little rings, the little things are that size. But I recently ordered some for a little bit bigger needles because I was going to use it for this sweater for Scarlett. But they came and I actually didn't even have time to go to the post office and pick them up. But I want to say, up until just recently, we just always, besides that first shipment, we just paid for all our stuff. But they told Jonna at one point, if there's something you want to try out or something, that they would send it to us for free. And we're just not the kind of people that ask for free things. So it was like, oh, okay. But when I heard about this knitters, what do they call it? They call it a project journal.
Oh, wow.
They posted about it and I immediately reached out to them and I said, Jonna told me that if I wanted something, I might be able to get it for free. And sure enough, they immediately responded and asked, because you can customize it. And the cover, I think there's 2 covers at this point. And there's so many things I love about it. Okay, so it's a binder, first of all. So it will lay flat. And you can buy extra pages. It's not a calendar like my previous one, but you can there's a page for each project. And on that page on the front has all the basics, the name of the pattern and everything, the designer, the yarn. It has a rating. And then you can also place a photo if you want, what I want to remember, a place for notes. And then on the back, that's the yarn details. And then there's a pocket. So you can keep the pattern in there if you're a paper pattern person like me, or the yarn label. And then there's also other pages with the dot, what's it called, like a dot matrix kind of dot grid. And there's also, it comes with also, did I put them in here? Graph paper, which I love. It also comes with some of these clear plastic sleeves if you want to store things in there. And it also comes with an elastic band. There's a way to set it up so it can hold your pattern, and the plastic band will mark where you are in the pattern. And I just love it. I haven't started using it yet because I'm going to finish using the one that Jonna got me. But I'm so excited about that. So, and it has, a little elastic for your pens, and then it has places to put little cards, maybe yarn shop cards and stuff. But I just love it. And it was funny, as soon as they posted it, viewers sent me the link. Did you see what Twice Sheared Sheep? I was like, yes, I saw.
It's a great size too. I feel like it fits in your bag easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. And so that's one of my favorite things. So if you want a Twice Sheared Sheep project journal, or you want any other little doodads, then on May the 4th be with you, they had Star Wars themed products. So it's really cool. Anyway, so I love that. And the other thing is not related to knitting. My daughter Elena works at a gym, And before that, we were just all members of the gym. And we've been members since it opened. They opened this gym right near our house. So I have no excuse to not go. But early on, I was taking classes. I like to take classes. And Elena started taking classes with me. And there was this nice man who took classes. And Elena and he's, I don't know how old he is. Would you say he's in his 50s? Mm-hmm. They just developed a sort of a friendship. And they would like stand next to each other in class and challenge each other. And workout buddies. And they just became really good friends. And then Elena found out that from him that his wife had cancer and was going through this battle with cancer. And so, you know, he would talk to Elena about it. And at one point, Elena like said, hey, so I have a bucket of cleaning supplies in my house, in my car. Can I just come over and clean your house for you? Because his wife was going through treatments. And they were both so touched by that. But anyway, we didn't realize that he's actually a musician and he has a podcast. And I think it's up until now, it's been an audio podcast, but I think I heard a rumor that it might become a video podcast. But anyway, he invited Elena to come on and be on the podcast. And this was like last year sometime. So she came on and she talked about her life. She was, you know, going through a divorce and just how she keeps motivated and how she made it through this difficult time of life. And of course I watched that one. And then recently he did a little performance at the gym with a couple other musicians and he sang this song that he wrote. He plays the guitar and sings about one aspect of his wife's journey, some really touching moment. And I sat there and cried my eyeballs out. And after that, I told him, you're going to be my favorite thing in our next video. It has nothing to do with knitting, but it would be great. Is it MDK Modern, where they always post those little things, listening to this?
Mm-hmm.
And this
watch this, listen to this.
Yeah, watch this, listen to this while you're knitting. And so his podcast is called Home From Here, and his name is John Burton, Burton, and we'll put links in. And his show, typical format is he'll talk to the person. He's a really good interviewer. He'll talk to the person about life, and if they're a musician, they'll actually play an acoustic something at the end. Either the person will play alone or he'll play with them. In Elena's case, he had wanted her to sing, and she can sing, but they didn't have any practice, so he just played something at the end. But it's just really a lovely podcast. So look it up, and this is a description of the show I printed out. I'm going to say what it's about. Home From Here focuses on mental health, music, the creative process, and anything uplifting and funny. With his warm and inviting presence, host John Burton fosters an environment of openness and vulnerability, inviting guests from all walks of life to share their stories and expertise on his show. His innate ability to infuse humor and lightheartedness into his discussions creates a safe and uplifting space where listeners can find solace, inspiration, and a renewed sense of hope. Through engaging interviews with renowned experts and artists and some just normal people, Home From Here uncovers the transformative potential of creativity and the resilience of the human spirit. And he just embodies that. And his wife has come through treatments and is now on the road to recovery. And she started working out at the gym with one of the trainers, which is a whole nother inspiring story because there were times when she couldn't even walk during her journey. And they have a daughter who he calls the package in all of his social media. I think she's a teenager at this point. But if you want to be uplifted and just listen to something meaningful while you're knitting or just when you're not knitting, definitely check out John Burton and Home From Here and tell him Kim sent you. Kim sent you. Follow and subscribe. I think I wrote down it's homefromhereshow.com. homefromhereshow.com. So I think that's it, right? I saw that young girl walk by.
I know, at the top.
Would you mind going and finding her? Did you see her? She has like a maroon top.
Yeah, I saw her.
And if she wants to be in camera, she can like perch back here. Yeah. But if she doesn't, we can just ask details. Thank you so much, Debbie.
You know what I thought would be fun is after this, we're going to shop. So we'll take some footage of us shopping and what we bought.
And I'll put that at the end of the video.
Yeah, and then we're going to go have lunch around the corner. They recommended a good salad place. So we'll bring you along with us and maybe take some footage of the McKinney, Texas area.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We brought our gimbal, and we
Yeah.
don't need the microphones.
Oh, here she is.
Hi.
Her
Do you mind
name
being on
is-
camera?
Sure.
Oh yeah, Sabra. That's
tell
right.
us how to say your name.
Sabra.
Sabra. And what's the pattern you're wearing?
I followed a YouTube tutorial. I don't remember which YouTuber, but there's a lot of tutorials for mesh tops.
Okay.
And this is all crochet except for I did knit for the ribbing.
Ribbing.
Because I think it makes it finish off very nicely. It looks very professional.
Great.
And it's a fingering weight held double.
Nice. And this is Sabra. And how long have you worked here?
It'll be a year in June. So
And you knit and crochet.
yes.
And how did you learn here or somewhere else?
I learned a lot from the people here. I didn't learn how to knit here, but I have been learning so much from the people that I work with.
That's awesome. Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I'm 28.
Okay. And just to be fair, I'm going to be 60 this weekend. You don't have to say how old you are if you don't want to.
Sunday. I'm 58.
There you go. So we didn't just call you
Right,
out your
right.
age. Your age right
But
there.
we love it when we, run into young knitters.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a whole new generation of, what my husband used to think was an old lady thing.
Yeah.
Only old ladies knit, so that's not true.
So if you can find the tutorial that for the top, well, maybe we'll put it in
link
our
it
show
below.
notes. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you, Sabra. Yay! So I think that's it.
Yeah.
Right? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you so much for joining us for episode 27.
Oh, I did want to say one thing.
Yeah.
Worldwide Knit in Public Day is coming up.
Oh, yes. And I actually got an Instagram message from Nora. Hi, Nora, from Nora Knits. If you haven't watched her channel, definitely tune in. I'll link it below. But I will be here
Oh,
on
nice.
June 8th,
Nice.
which is Knit in Public Day.
Yep, June 8th.
And where will you be?
I definitely will make an appearance at Pick Up Every Stitch, but it's the same day as my granddaughter's dance recital. So
Okay.
I can't miss that.
And when I say here, I meant in Texas. I'm not sure where I'll actually be on that day, but we can post it on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll post. But no matter, just make sure you knit in public somewhere.
Yeah.
Because it's just fun. And that is worldwide, whereas
The
Yarn Shop Day was not worldwide.
Mhm.
But anyway, so yeah, thanks for joining us. And we have no idea how the audio will turn out.
Yeah.
It was a learning process at Pick Up Every Stitch as well, but it was so
I
fun.
did hear the air conditioning go on, so there's going to be that.
And the door and the phone ringing.
Yeah.
But it's just been really
hope
lovely.
you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's been really fun to be here. And don't forget to
Comment, like, subscribe. As my grandsons say, smash that like button. Become a member. And we already talked about our affiliate link down below, Twice Sheared Sheep. And we do have merchandise that you drink out of. I think I see the Knit Together with Kim and Jonna coffee mug I have in my cabinet.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I use my little Notions bag.
Yeah, your little merchandise. So someday we'll update that.
Also, grab the t-shirts, because where did I put them? We were going to talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
the t-shirts
So,
here. I did want to say,
Ginger-
though, one thing. We had a new member just join recently, and I'm just thinking of it because she joined the Cable Threes the day after we had our last Zoom. But I think it was Annika from Sweden, right?
Okay.
So, hi, Annika. We can't wait to meet you virtually.
Yes.
But, yeah, so
So Ginger gifted us each a t-shirt.
mhm.
And there are two versions. This one is called Love a Knit, McKinney Knittery,
And this one is called
Getting It Done.
I
And
love
that's
that.
a crew neck, and this is a V-neck, and they're short sleeve, and this one's a long sleeve. So thank you, Ginger.
And the fabric is so
so
soft.
soft.
Oh my goodness. Jonna
Very
actually
lightweight too, so suitable for warm weather.
Jonna bought me a McKinney Knittery t-shirt last year, and I honestly hadn't worn it much, but as soon as she moved, I started wearing it all the time because I just love it, and it makes me think of you.
Oh, thank you.
There it is.
So we're excited to have t-shirts. These are available on her website also, I assume. One with all the beautiful yarn and fabric. So even if you're not in the market for something, check out the website because it's really, really beautiful and
Mhm.
easy to shop. Every item has like a little tile, so it's easy to just browse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
So, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it was so
we had
fun.
so much fun.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
We did it.
High five.
Yay! Thank you, Debbie, for being
I
here.
know, we had an
You're
audience, our
welcome.
first audience.
Yeah.
You saw the whole thing.
I'm going to knit myself a sweater. A sweater that will keep me warm at night.
Hit record on our
Sunny days in
microphone.
must-have weather.
Record button.
Sliding my
I hope you're getting this on camera. People say, oh, you're so, I mean, sometimes they say you're so polished, but you seem so natural. It's just because we don't rehearse anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's good, right? Doesn't have to be perfect. Just almost
Hear that,
perfect.
folks? Doesn't have to be perfect.
Doesn't
It's
have
not
to be
going to be
perfect.
perfect.
I wonder when this knit along is running from when until when. Kristen? Ginger? Kristen? Karen? Felicia?
I know. No. Wizard of Oz.
Somebody? You ready for this?
Mhm.
Feels like so much has happened since the last time we did it.
I know. I feel like I've aged 100 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully that does not.
You don't look like it. No.
I feel like I have aged.
You don't look like it.
Oh, we don't have to stop every 20 minutes.
I know. What are we gonna do?
I know.
We're gonna have to stop for bathroom breaks though.
Yeah.
Okay, so you ready?
Yeah.
We're starting!
But go on
Go on about your business.
They gave you thumbs up.
Sell lots of yarn.
Yeah, yeah.